Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? Guys. A lot of stuff has dropped today, and it's pretty hype. We got a lot of non-Call of, I was gonna say non-anime related things, and I wound up saying Call of Duty because that's one of the things. But yeah, we have a lot of non-animated related things popping up, but it's definitely more of why I'm hype for some reason, just to see some stuff play out. But overall, this week's episode of this interesting demon daughter girl, um, I don't really know. I don't really know what like the outside story is gonna be like, or how everything's going to come across when we start to, get more and more of what. God, I'm so sorry about my PlayStation. If you can hear it in the background, it's so trash. But yeah, I'm not sure what's gonna be the overall end game of this because when you see something like this and it has a whole bunch of different criteria kind of popping off in the grand scheme of like people inside of the town being despicable, and then you got also the fact that there's only so many people who have already, pretty much put out their like, hey, we're going to protect this girl at any cost, and she can pretty much trust them just by their faces. But then at the end of the day, we go and see, how these people are actually, acting and how these people are actually trying to be. And man, I wanted to break these kids like these adventurers' fingers, bro. Like I couldn't imagine if they did this and Dale was the one that found them doing this stuff. Like we would have probably saw him going to prison for murder. Like real talk, it would have been a wrap for these guys. And to think that they got off this easily, um, hopefully there's probably gonna be something more with their characters, or a reason why they even knew she was a devil in general. I guess that just goes to show you that, like the police officer who knew about her, word has spread quite wide, and that's kind of bad in this grand scheme of like what's possible with how people are acting, with how people are supposedly trading off these like different race, like dogs, bunnies, whatever the case may be, devils. They're selling them off in human trafficking. So now we kind of have an understanding, and I do apologize for the stuff outside too. People are working on the yard, um, but we have an understanding of what could be possible throughout this show when it comes down to what the humans bring to the table, and also, just the negative side of humanity. Oops, just the negative side of humanity in general. Um, it's kind of interesting how they're correlating like the whole entire plot, which I do enjoy. Um, but the one thing that I haven't seen is, or that we didn't get to see, is the spell she was going to use to like actually defend herself. Like, what would be her go-to, attack, which I thought was going to be pretty interesting. But of course, it gets cut too short too soon because luckily, what's his face shows up at the great time, and he's probably one of my more favorite like off-scene character, like one of the standout or non-standout characters. He's probably one of my more liked ones that I can enjoy. He just seems more like the father type, really, out of everybody. He just seems like he's always going to push the extra mile to take care of Latina, just like how Dale does, but he also knows that Dale will be the ultimate death of him if he gets too close. Well, I think everybody's learning that, right? Like that's just a no-no. Don't push your luck. Pretty much is what Dale will tell you. Like, oh, you met her. Well, don't push your luck. She's really nice, and if it just so happens that she likes you more than me, I might have to destroy you, is Dale's overall sentiment. So, yeah, we'll see how all this turns out. I've been interested in this show just for the grand scheme of how they're playing it out, how it seems like it was going to be one thing and completely turned into something different, in a good way. Like, it's actually chill to watch, but at the same time, we got things like Dale going out and slaughtering these wolves like they're nothing, right? So, I don't know. I'm interested to seeing what everybody thinks about this show at the end of the day. Like, when it actually ends, what will we actually get with the overall narrative, and um, where will this, finally end in the grand scheme of, like, do we learn about why the person she was with dies? Do we know, like, what her status was back at home and stuff like that? And is that going to come back and try to bite her? Stuff like that is always fun for me to kind of see play out in these shows. And I would love to see you guys' reaction as well in the comments if you do enjoy it or just watching it as well. But yeah, with that being said, I definitely will talk to you guys relatively soon. I'll have at least one more video to post for sure, but then I'll probably I'll look into what, else pops off today and see if I can get something else up, or I might just leave it as is because um, as of Thursdays, there's usually not much to do. So I could do an over review of the Netflix show. I did end up finishing it, so there's also that. So with all that being said, everybody, I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you relatively soon. So with all that, let's see how Latina handles the rest of her life and dealing with all these scumbags that she's running into. If she's going to want to be more of a fighter because of it, or, I mean, imagine if they did that while Chloe was with her, like, she could have literally seen her friend try to protect her and get hurt. So it's getting really interesting with how they're drawing these narratives, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think. So with that, peace.